Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. CFTC Chairman Heath Tarbert was asked in a recent video interview about XRP. Is it a commodity? Does the regulation of XRP fall under their purview? And he had an interesting response, and so it spawned a bunch of the crypto media articles. There's one on your screen right here, and here's the way that they decided to frame this. Here's how the headline reads from You Today. XRP could be classified as a security by SEC, according to CFTC chairman. Well, that's one way to interpret it, but he didn't say that. He definitely did not say that. So I'm going to get into that. There's another article. This is rather timely, actually, which came out today. This is from Bloomberg Law. Analysis: A Cryptocurrency Act of 2020? You cannot be serious. An interesting and fun headline. It's really fairly long, longer than I'm willing to cover in this video, but there's certain parts of it I picked out that I do want to run through, and it just highlights just why it is difficult for the government to just get a handle on what is going on as far as regulating the crypto asset class. But before going any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. It's a good thing to do. I guess so. It's all relative. If you regret it, whatever. No refunds because it doesn't cost you anything anyway. So I got a link sent to me via my in my Twitter inbox from Stonehodl XRP. So I want to give a shout out right there. Link to Aiden Trading's XRP YouTube channel, and he put out the full video, which was a little under 5 minutes. And which is very useful. And then another shout out to Louis Marriott, because he tagged me along with some others in this truncated version of that video. And this gets down to just a 38-second clip where he is directly asked about XRP. And so here's what he ultimately said in this little 38-second clip here. It's just a matter of fact that the CFTC has been communicating with the SEC over who actually has jurisdiction over regulating XRP and other cryptocurrencies. And again, he was specifically asked about XRP, so that is what he's talking about. And so he ultimately stated that's something that they're hearing about, and he said if there's one thing I'm going to have to, I can't remember if it's in the article that I want to run through part of it. It might have been listed in here, the quote here. But he was saying, yeah... You know what? Let me read through this. I can't remember for sure. Let me just jump to the article. But it was basically the issue is what he's hearing from people that are in the world of crypto is they just want regulatory clarity. That's it. So Heath Tarbert, the chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, suggesting that XRP, the third biggest cryptocurrency, could be classified as a security by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, during his most recent interview with Cheddar. I don't think it's quite right to frame it that way. He didn't say that it's possible. He just said that there wasn't regulatory clarity around it, which is very different than saying that it could be classified as a security. That is fundamentally different. Anyway, and the article continues, however, Tarbert says that the situation's still not clear, and the token could be considered a commodity, thus falling under the purview of the CFTC. And here's a quote, part of the issue is that our jurisdiction we share with the SEC. If it's a security, it falls under their jurisdiction. If it's a commodity, it falls under ours. So we've been working closely with the SEC over the last year or so to really think about which falls in what box. So clearly they're still figuring it out, and there's only clarity around a couple cryptocurrencies from a regulatory perspective, like Bitcoin, and I think Ethereum is pretty well pegged down at this point, but there are over 5,000 cryptocurrencies, and almost none of them, over 99% of them, do not have regulatory clarity, including XRP in the United States, although regulatory clarity is ever increasing in other geographic regions, specifically in the UK with the Financial Conduct Authority citing that XRP is a utility token right there. It's very useful. So there you go. All right. Tarbert said that Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only digital assets that fall in the jurisdiction of the CFTC. Right now, anyway, of course, and that could change. So we shall see. Now, moving forward, I want to share with you this piece. Now, this piece, I'm going to get to the one from today, but I want to share just part of this one from October 23rd of 2019. And Clayton, it's titled "Clayton Tantalizes XRP Army with Suggestion of Fresh Look at International Payments." Now, Jay Clayton, he's over at the SEC. So let me just jump down here. So he's the chairman here. Here's the part I want. Okay, so as careful as the chairman was to avoid breaking any bulletins among 200 or so fintech professionals who are growing impatient with waiting for clear regulatory guidance, one thoughtful question from moderator Chris Brummer, a Georgetown law professor, did pry some good news out of Clayton. And it will surely be music to the ears of companies like Ripple that focus on international payments. And here's the exchange. It's just several comments back and forth. So Brummer said this to Jay Clayton. How would you rate the agency's performance in resolving uncertainty? What do you think of the toolbox at your disposal? Jay Clayton at the SEC responded, the most powerful tool in the toolbox is dialogue. We want dialogue to facilitate private sector innovation. We expect the private sector not to be evading principles in a system that has worked extremely well for 85 years. Brummer responded, do you feel satisfied when you look at private participants that there is an understanding of how rules apply? See exchanges that are trying to create ratings. Is there more they can and should be doing to engage you in the process of creating more clarity in the rules? Now here's the money spot. Here's the money comment from Jay Clayton here. Distributed ledger technology in private placement setting, that's okay. If you want to make a public offering, wonderful, we'll work with you. But you can't have wide distribution to the retail public with trading and not have the protections of the Securities Act. If you want a free-for-all, you have to go to Congress. We don't tell Congress what to do. In the security space, where you're raising money in a disaggregated space, where there's anonymity as to who your investors are, is a settled question. In terms of international payments, there may be more room to take a fresh look at this space. And so there you go. He was making it clear, and again, mind you, this is just a few months ago, made it very clear, they haven't figured this damn thing out. XRP's been around for how long? 7+ years at this point? They don't know. They haven't a clue how to go about regulating this. Oh man, it's just fascinating. All good things in time here. Now, let's fast forward to this new piece from today from Bloomberg. An eventful 2019 for the cryptocurrency field ended with widespread talk in late December about the potential for a federal law defining categories of crypto assets and specifying the federal regulatory agencies authorized to regulate them. A Cryptocurrency Act of 2020. The discussion draft of this bill circulated in December cannot be considered a serious legislative attempt yet, however, because it displays a lack of basic understanding of the relevant federal laws and regulatory agencies. Now, the not yet introduced House bill follows a previous attempt to address specific issues related to digital currency, the Token Taxonomy Act of 2019, which was introduced in April 2019 but did not move beyond referral to the House Financial Services and Ways and Means Committee. Commendably brief at just more than 1,000 words, the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020 would create new definitions for categories of crypto assets and assign each category to a sole regulator. Oh, please let this... I haven't read this thing, so I'm not going to say please let it pass because I'd want to read through it personally first before I could say that. But conceptually, I am absolutely behind what this is purported to aim at. That makes a ton of sense to me. All right, crypto commodity, cryptocurrency, and crypto security are the main categories. Their sole regulators are the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, the Department of the Treasury acting through the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which is FinCEN, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, respectively. Stablecoins, the type of crypto asset thrust into national attention in 2019 by Facebook's Libra project, are separated into two categories subject to different regulators. A reserve-backed stablecoin, which is a representation of currency issued by the United States or a foreign government, and is fully backed by such currency on a one-to-one basis and fully collateralized in a correspondent banking account, would have FinCEN as its sole regulator. So very different than what XRP is. It just has an open market value, obviously. A synthetic stablecoin which is stabilized against the value of a currency or other asset, would have the SEC as its sole regulator. Okay, we're on the right track here, all right? Seemingly, right? I want to hear some back and forth on pros and cons before I personally have a firm opinion, but it sounds like we're on the right track. Piece continues. The Draft Cryptocurrency Act of 2020 is ambitious in scope and well-timed. The Token Taxonomy Act of 2019 aimed narrowly to exclude digital tokens from the definition of a security under existing governing laws of the SEC and also address taxation of virtual currencies. The new draft bill addresses a broader range of crypto assets and regulatory authorities, as well as stablecoins, which, since the announcement of Libra in June 2019, have presented multi-issue, multi-agency regulatory problems. The October 2019 Joint State on Activities Involving Digital Assets by the SEC, CFTC, and FinCEN underscored the need to provide clarity on the boundaries between relevant laws and regulatory authorities. Now, part of the reason this is so hairy, just to be clear here, it's because this fundamentally new technology, let me restart that sentence. This new technology is fundamentally different than anything that previously has been regulated by any part of the United States federal government. Absolutely. And so you cannot shoehorn this technology into existing regulatory framework because it can morph. It's like a chameleon. Maybe chameleon's not quite the right word, but cryptocurrencies can change from centralized to decentralized, which could, as a result, change whether it's a security or a commodity. That's the fundamental issue. And until this is addressed, you're not going to solve this problem. And then the piece goes on a little further. The draft bill's superficially neat categories of crypto assets and superficially neat division of regulatory authority over them create new problems regarding boundaries, however, making them likely to sow further confusion rather than establish clarity. Crypto commodity has a definition that is simple but fraught with issues. Crypto commodity means economic goods or services that A, have full or substantial fungibility, B, the markets treat with no regard as to who produced the goods or services, and C, rest on a blockchain or decentralized cryptographic ledger. Now, this definition is remarkably broad, encompassing Bitcoin and all other cryptocurrencies that are not based on reserves of other assets and are traded with their values floating freely. And of course, again, XRP, you could describe as that value floating freely. It's not pegged to anything, and it shouldn't be. The definition would make the CFTC the sole government agency with the authority to regulate crypto commodities, the regulatory authority for most cryptocurrencies, making the CFTC with its crypto-friendly reputation into the sole regulator of most cryptocurrencies may be the goal of many in the crypto sector, but the draft bill's attempt has fundamental flaws. So, another perspective. And so I'd love to hear more back and forth about this. It's a legitimate conversation, and it still needs to be figured out. But I still insist that going down this path, it seems closer to the right track, even if there are specifics that still need to be hammered out there. That's perfectly okay. I just want the discussion moving forward, and at least there are some attempts, seemingly, to move forward with this. Because, look, XRP is not a security. We know that. Couldn't be more clear, but it doesn't mean it's easy for regulators to come out and say, that's true, and then point to some sort of regulation that doesn't exist to say, this is why. It's just not clear. And a lot of cryptocurrencies can appear in some ways to be, commodity or security, whatever, a currency, and that's fundamentally the problem. Because like I said just a moment ago, what a cryptocurrency is it can shift over time, and then the way in which it's regulated should be, that should be taken into account from a regulatory perspective. So there you go. Hopefully all in good time. Maybe we'll see some good stuff in 2020. Who knows? But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.